With the end of the 3DS compatibility in Pokémon Home approaching ever so soon, we are going to lose access to a number of notable features from previous generations. This will include Pokémon like the Battlebond Greninja, the Mew from Faraway Island, the Celebi from the Virtual Consoles, and the Deoxys from Birth Island. However, one of the most notable things we are going to lose is the access to the amazing world of glitches in Pokémon Red and Blue Virtual Console. This has previously been a way for trainers to do and obtain things that they never thought could be possible in the Pokémon series, like instantly encounter Pokémon that were unreleased, or have battles with trainers that were never meant to be seen. And although details on these glitches are vastly covered across the internet, there is one that seems to stand out to me among the rest. And yes, that is the ability to turn your PC boxes shiny. Now, yes, guides on how to turn your Pokémon shiny are quite common, but there's little to no information on how to turn your entire PC boxes shiny. This can be extremely useful for people trying to complete a shiny living dex and is a strong place to start if it's something you've dreamed of. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so this first component is going to cover the initial setup to be able to run this glitch, and what we're going to need to do is obtain an item called 8F. This item will eventually act as the key that activates these glitches. Now, there is going to be a number of items that you need to collect for this. However, to start off with, we are going to collect the following items on the screen. That is, any 5 items in the first 5 slots of the bag, and then you are going to have an X special in the 6th slot. If you have a Master Ball, that can be helpful, however, it is not required for this guide. If you are already familiar with obtaining the item 8F, feel free to skip to the end of this section. But for now, make your way over to Viridian City and head up the left side, where you'll talk to the tired old man. He will show us how to catch a Pokémon. Engage in his tutorial, and immediately after, fly over to Cinnabar Island. When you are here, you're going to begin to make your way to the right side of the island. After confirming we have an X special in our 6th inventory slot, we are going to start to surf up and down the coastline while hugging the edge. Eventually, you will encounter a mysterious figure called Missing No. When you go to your 6th item slot now, you'll notice that the number has changed. It represents 129, however, the game can only show 2 slots. What we're now going to do is use 2 X specials on our Pokemon that's currently in battle. We are going to end the battle by throwing a Master Ball and catching Missing No. Your 6th slot will have 255 X specials, which will look like this. If you don't have a Master Ball, or aren't really interested in catching a glitched Pokemon, you can achieve the same effect by encountering a Missing No, tossing 2 X specials, re-encountering Missing No again, and then after running away from the battle, you'll notice that you have 255 X specials in the 6th item slot. Perfect, you're crushing this. Now, we want to swap the X specials to the 3rd slot in our item bag. We are then going to toss the item in the 1st slot, which makes the 2nd slot also have 255 X specials, and then we are going to toss the 1st item in the 1st slot again, which will make the 1st slot have 255 X specials. Now that all the first 3 slots have 255 X specials, you want to go to the slot number 1 and toss a whole stack of X specials. They won't disappear, don't worry. That's okay. Do this until you can no longer scroll past the 2nd slot in your item bag. This can vary, but for me it took a total of 3 stacks tossed. Try saying that 3 times fast. Once this is done, go to the 1st stack and toss 253 of the 255 stack. Now, swap the 1st slot with the 2nd slot. They will merge, and then a second time swap the 1st slot with the 2nd slot. This should result in saying that you have 0 X specials. Well done, you're doing amazing, but save here because the next step can get messy. Once you've strapped yourself in and taken a deep breath, fly to Celadon City and start by making your way to this specific tile on the screen. Once you have done this, you are going to begin by opening your bag and going to your items. You should notice now that you can scroll past cancel. We're going to do so, and if at any stage your cursor stops blinking, to keep moving down, you're going to press down and A simultaneously. Keep tapping down until you reach the nugget item. When you do reach this, you are going to press select on it to move it up. To progress up, press up and B simultaneously if you find that the cursor is not moving. Keep scrolling up until you reach the first item in your bag. After this, we are going to back out of the item menu and move 5 steps to the right. You'll notice that the screen has changed and will look different than it normally would. We're then going to move 5 steps down. You'll notice here that this doesn't quite get me below the steps. If this happens to you, move a 6th step down. Now, move 20 steps to the right. As you're doing this, you'll know that the map has changed and looks kind of funky. This is completely fine, don't worry about it. Be sure as you're doing this not to deviate your path in any direction other than right. Once you've done this, go into your items and repeat the process from before where we scroll down past cancel. If there are ever no blinks in the cursor, press down while pressing A simultaneously. It is important to only do this if you find the cursor isn't progressing you down in the menu. Eventually, you'll stumble upon 8F. Select this and move it up to the first slot in our items by pressing up or pressing up and B simultaneously if the cursor is not moving. Once you get to the top, swap the 8F item with the nugget item and back out of your menu. Congratulations, you've done the really tricky part of this guide. Let's get the heck out of this glitchy mess and make our way back to Cinnabar Island. Now is a really good time to get rid of Missing No if you caught it. You can deposit it into your PC, however I recommend just releasing it. You can now also deposit 8F in your item PC for the time being. It's important to note that if you are depositing 8F and it takes 2 attempts to deposit it, that means there are 2 of them, despite it not showing a quantity, and having more than one of them in your inventory at a time will stop the glitch from working, so go ahead and toss one. Now, go to the Pokemart and buy 3 or 4 different items. This will make it so that you can no longer scroll past cancel and the item overflow glitch will have stopped. Congratulations, just like that, you've obtained 8F. Now for the Pokemon and item setups. We'll start with Pokemon. You're going to need exactly 5 Pokemon in your party. First, a Pidgey with 233 HP, then a Parasect in slot 2, an Onix in slot 3, a Tentacle in slot 4, and a Kangaskhan in slot 5. Now, getting a Pidgey with 230 HP isn't easy. However, if you do the Old Man's Catching tutorial, fly to Cinnabar Island, ensure you have a rare candy in the 6th slot, and then encounter a Missing No, you'll notice that you now have 129 rare candies. Use this to level Pidgey up until it gets 233 HP, and if it goes over, just send it out in battle to get some HP knocked off. Okay, now for the items. They need to be in the exact slots with the exact quantities. Number 1, 8F. Number 2, any item by 1. Number 3, any item by 38. Number 4, TM18 by 1. Number 5, any item by 1. Number 6, X Accuracy by 178. Number 7, Lemonade by 170. Number 8, Repel by 236. Number 9, any item by 83. Number 10, Waterstone by 1. Number 11, Firestone by 1. Number 12, TM03 by 128. Number 13, Escape Rope by 9. Number 14, Potion by 32. Number 15, TM45 by 1. Number 16, any item by 1. And number 17, TM01 by 1. Someone get my asthma puffer, I'm about to collapse. Wow. Please don't ask me how many attempts that took and why I decided to do it in one go, but for now, we're going to walk through some of the items that are harder to get because they're in above 99 quantities. Again, we want to do the old man's tutorial and fly to Cinnabar so we can encounter Missing No. To get 178x accuracies, we need to have 50x accuracies in our 6th slot, have one encounter with Missing No, then run away. Go check your items and go to the 6th slot and it should look something like this. To get 170 lemonades, we're going to want to put 42 lemonades in the 6th slot and have one encounter with Missing No, then run away. When you go to your item slot, you should notice that you have 170 lemonades looking like this. The repels are a little more tricky. To get 236 repels, we're going to want to have one in the 6th item slot, then do an encounter with Missing No, run away. When you go to your item slot, go to repels and toss 21 of them. After tossing 21 of them, you are going to surf until you find Missing No again. Have an encounter with him and then run away. Go to your item slot and your 236 repels should look like this. To get 128 TMO3, we're going to have one TMO3 in the 6th item slot, encounter Missing No once, and then run away. After that, toss one TMO3 and it should look like this. And after that, you're all done with the items. Congratulations, the hard part's done and now it's on to the fun bit. Now, as shiny sprites don't show up in Gen 1, I'm going to show the stats of each Pokemon so you know they weren't already shiny. I'll speed this up and give you some dancing Totodile to watch in the meantime. Damn, those Totodile are so cool, aren't they? Okay, here it is, the grand finale. First, let's go into our setup and make sure we have everything in order. In the first slot, we want Pidgey with 233 HP, Parasect in slot 2, Onix in slot 3, Tentacle in slot 4, and Kangaskhan in slot 5. Then, over to our items. Last time I almost passed out trying to list all these things off in one go, so have a look and check you've got the correct items from the list before. Alrighty, once you're confident you've got everything correct with your setup, go to your items, then go to 8F and use it once. Then scroll down to the X accuracy and toss one of them. Then scroll back up to 8F and use it again. Here it is, the moment of truth. Congratulations, you've done it. Now, although it looks like nothing happened and you just wasted a day of your life encountering pixelated rectangles, if you go back to your PC box, you will notice that the Pokemon stats have changed. Either by putting them into a stat calculator or transferring them over to Pokemon Bank and Pokemon Home, you'll be able to see they have turned shiny. To prove that I'm not full of it, I'm going to go through a sped up montage of each of the Pokemon stats that show that they will be shiny. Remember that this works on the active PC box, so to turn other PC boxes shiny, make them the active box and repeat step 3. And just like that, after a few conversations with an old bloke who loves his coffee, a handful of encounters with and the single click of a button, you can turn boxes of Pokemon shiny. And now, your dream of catching them all and becoming a Pokemon master is one step closer. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time.